The natural progression of a backyard flock is usually that a duck waddles its way in, and that's exactly what happened to me. So let me take you back to December 2015. We're on a family day out and we're driving home. We come past a farm that has a sign outside that says duck eggs for sale. Of course, we decided, yeah, let's pull in and we'll get half a dozen duck eggs. Now, I was there collecting these eggs and I noticed a little further up the farm these beautiful looking black and white ducks. So we picked the eggs up and took them home with the intention of having to eat in the week that followed. However, these eggs mysteriously disappeared and somehow, no idea how, ended up in my incubator, and 28 days later, the 5th of January 2016, these 4 ducklings hatched. We had 3 these black and white ducklings, they're magpie ducks, and 1 completely yellow duckling that was an Indian runner. As I'm sure you can see, they're extraordinarily cute little ducklings, and I remember that first couple of days with them in particular, having them out to have a little bit of playtime and handling time with them, and they used to follow me about the house. I'd walk somewhere and I'd have 4 ducklings in tow. It was just a fabulous experience. Now, this is where I learned a very hard lesson in bird keeping. Despite all my preparations over the month prior, as we were expecting the eggs to come to hatch, I'd got everything ready for them. One thing was missing, however, and this was the rearing crumb for waterfowl. I could not find it anywhere. I don't know if it was out of season or what the deal was, so I was limited to only the medicated chick crumb designed for rearing small chickens. Whilst the medication didn't prove to be an issue, the main thing being there is that the ducklings could overdose because they eat larger quantities than a baby chicken. The problem, quite simply, was the nutritional requirements. Chick crumb designed for chickens has nowhere near the level of niacin that is needed for these waterfowl rearing pellets, and therefore what happened is we had 1 duckling sadly pass away at about 3 days old because it was a little bit weak when it hatched. But of the 3 that remained, 2 of them had these leg issues that were caused by a lack of niacin. It basically made their legs lock in place in a 90-degree angle, and they couldn't move about with them, so they were walking almost on their knees. Despite visits to a vet who, in all honesty, was absolutely clueless about birds and had no idea what he was talking about, we had to get 2 of those 3 remaining ducklings euthanized from about 4 weeks old and about 6 or 8 weeks old, and that left us with 1 single duck. It just so happens that the 1 single duck remaining was the eldest, the one that hatched first, the one who stood tallest in all those duckling photos that you saw. His name was Coco, and he was my absolute favourite. He still is quite well up there on ranking of all my favourite birds I've had to date, and I've had absolutely hundreds at this point. So he was a really quite special bird for me. He was absolutely amazing, and he stood probably best part of about 3 feet tall. He was huge. He probably weighed about 3, 4, maybe even 5 kilos. And we actually used to make jokes in the family that if he ever made it to the local pond, he'd be terrorising the Canadian geese and the swans because of the size of him. It wasn't just the magpie ducks that I had. We also had some Cayuga cross Indian runners. They were quite nice, much sort of smaller ducks that we had in with Coco, of course. I actually also at some point got some coal ducks as well. We hatched a couple of eggs and they're lovely little ducklings and lovely little ducks in general, although they are quite loud, so be careful having them if you have a couple of neighbours. And then, of course, Coco. Now, I have bred the ducks. Coco did father a number of offspring, and actually the descendants of Coco still remain on a friend's pond today. And yes, for those future ducklings, I did manage to get the proper waterfowl rearing pellets for the chick crumb, the rearing pellets, the growers pellets, and then the adult pellets as well, and we no longer had any issues with leg deformities in the ducklings. Undoubtedly, I will be having ducklings again at some point soon. I'm sure if the opportunity comes along, I'll absolutely be getting ducks again. The only thing was, as much as they were great to have wandering around the garden and they were fantastic little characters, they were very messy. So be warned if you fancy getting some ducks.